Hello, everyone. This is Rick with a Cyber Pro podcast. Industry leaders share their insights. It's about 5 questions in 9 minutes because hackers never sleep. Ben, let's kick it off. Question number 1. Who are you and what do you do?
So, first of all, thanks for having me here, Rick. I'm Ben Hirschberg. I'm the CTO and co-founder of Armo. I was born and raised in the cyber industry, I could say, rather young age. First, in my first part of my career, I was more in the offensive part of the industry, and gradually moved into the defensive part and into the product R&D side. I used to work at a company called NDS, which was part of the News Corp organization. And for a long time, we were dealing with the video security business and content security business, and moved to Cisco afterwards. And after leaving Cisco, I was helping a few startups in their early days, and now I became also an entrepreneur myself. So I opened Armo 3 years ago with my friends, and dealing today with kubernetes security.
That's awesome. That's great. And we will definitely jump in to what you guys are doing. I'm super excited to hear about that. Let's go into the second one. You talked about being in cybersecurity for most of your life, if not, all of it. Maybe you wore diapers with the Matrix on it or something. But yeah, tell me, why do you love being a cybersecurity professional?
So it's good that you mentioned the Matrix, because when I was on the offensive side of the industry, actually I really loved the mystic part, like being the Neo in the movie who starts to see the whole Matrix from inside, and really part of being the part of being a part of the offensive world is that you start to see the whole world in a different way. You're always looking for vulnerabilities, like things where you can enter, and your family starts to look at you like really weird, that how you're thinking, and like trying to break everything. But when I moved more to the defensive side of the world, I have to tell you that it's not less interesting, because I think that cyber industry is great because you have always new things. Like, I don't know any other part where you really find always new things which are different every year and there, and that's just great.
So everywhere globally, we hear cybersecurity is the top concern. Ben, what does that mean to you?
So I might be controversial here, but people who know me, I'm speaking my mind, and I always, first of all, I love cybersecurity, and it's something really important for me. But on the other hand, it's, for the most of the people, I think it's like a health insurance. It's not something you like to think of. And therefore, people are saying that, well, cybersecurity is really important for me, but they are not really know how to take this into action. And this is where, I also love my work, and I doing a lot of public speaking and going to conferences. I talk a lot. And I like to talk about these kind of things and teach the mindset to people, because I think that on the one hand, people are talking about, you're right, but it's not always turned into actions.
No, that's great. Ben, here's your chance just to riff on your own. What insights do you want to share with our network of cyber pros?
So, I could think of a lot of things when I prepared for this to talk about, but I think that one of the major trends today, and I think that you already heard, and maybe also the viewers already heard about that, is supply chain security. So, as we saw in the past years, the industry started to move to cloud security, to cloud. The infrastructure became somewhat out of the hands of most of the professionals and the companies. We are relying on the AWS and Google and Azure to do a lot of security things for us. And actually, they are doing a rather good job. Like, they're doing the best practices most of the time that they can. And obviously, there are problems here and there, but they're essentially doing a good job. And if we're looking where the attackers are trying to come from, in this case, where they have some of their original path are somewhat blocked and hard to penetrate. Supply chain is becoming, more and more a problem. Like knowing what is the software you're putting into your system. And there are two directions here. One is when someone is trying to actively insert something into your supply chain in order to get to your production system and try to exploit from there and take advantage of you. And the other part is that when someone, not deliberately, but by coincidence, you're taking into vulnerabilities into your software you didn't know of, and then you have to deal with it. And I think that in the last years, this awareness became more and more stronger and stronger. And it's also a problem because, the software we're making today is so complex. It's coming from so many sources, and you have no idea. And fun thing I wanted to add here is I don't know, Rick, if you thought about it, but do you thought that also Chat GPT is part of your supply chain? Because, I don't know if, how the people are around you working, but the developers who are working around me, I see them most of the time, Chat GPT is open, in their computer, and they're using it to create algorithms, write things in their pieces of software. And I don't know if you heard about it, but this was actively exploited in the past month. Someone deliberately added codes, which turned out to be malicious, and people just pulled that code, said, "Oh well, it does the functional parts of what I think," and just packed into their software. And at the end, they were exploited. These things were exploited, which is kind of like mind blowing, if you think. So, therefore, I think that the supply chain is a very complex problem, and the more part about it is that it is really, really, since it's so many parts are moving parts and so many parts are coming from so many directions. You as someone who is a security expert, how you're dealing with it, how you can boil down, this problem, this information to the parts where you're really interested in. And I think that this is going to be one of the challenges, for example, for us who are creating defensive solutions, to add, not trying to block the supply chain, not trying to say that, okay, don't use that, don't use Chat GPT, don't use all these open libraries, but how to detect problems, how to find out vulnerabilities. And this is going to be super interesting, I think, in the upcoming year or two, because we'll see whether, from a technological perspective, whether we can live up to this problem.
No, that's amazing. And I think, we saw it with SolarWinds. We're seeing it, Chat GPT. I love that you're being mindful, because I think some people think, well, I'm protecting my network, but your network includes all of your supply chain vendors. So
yeah, it's a really hard problem, and there are different approaches to, first of all, defensive dev is always coming for your help. So if you're trying also to limit all the software to the minimum thing they need to do, and like all these have, I don't know, proper network segmentation in place. So even if you're pulling into your application some malicious code, the application can't do everything, and monitoring the behavior and so on. But it's a hard thing. Like it's really, really hard thing to have that. And this is why I love cyber.
Nice. Ben, final question for you. What's your favorite piece of retro technology that makes you smile?
Yeah, it's actually something I talked to someone this weekend. Okay, it's the cathode ray tube. So today you have everyone thinks of transistors, of these like silicon things, and no one speaks about, well, there was this thing, but by the way, before I was born, but I was still I have to admit that my bachelor's degree is not from computers. It's actually from electronics. And I was still learning cathode ray tubes, and we'll doing still different measurements. It's like an awesome thing, and it's got forgotten, and which is it makes me smile every time I see it.
Nice. Yeah, I've seen some people, they're making watches and clocks with them now.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing. it's amazing. Yeah.
Ben, thank you so much for being on the Cyber Pro podcast.
Yeah, I was really happy to be here. Thanks.
Thank you for watching the Cyber Pro podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on new podcasts and bonus content.